Last time we talked about phase 1
Yeah.
of the famous Reddit thread.
This is episode number 2 of the 5-part series, the 5 stages of being a movie guy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for the precise or the concise wrap up.
I'm just thinking about
I was ready to just jump in.
I'm thinking about the edit, man.
Smart of you. I'm thinking about just coughing into the microphone as much as I can. Making your life hard.
Our most hated episode so far. We haven't even started.
Welcome to Rodin Tomatoes.
That's Ben Rodin.
And that's Brady Tomatoes.
And this is a show where we talk about
movies,
magic, and Muppets. Just to kind of get the, what's the word? Like the canvas to lay out the roadmap. So we can look at the roadmap here. We're talking about the 5 stages of being a movie guy. This is based on an 8-year-old Reddit post that we decided to revive. A very new idea from a new concept of a podcast that we had, 2 white guys talking about movies. So first stage of being a movie guy is the simple enjoyment of popular Hollywood flicks, which we talked about last week.
Which ended up being just a discussion of our childhood.
Yeah.
Which brought up a lot of deep-seated trauma for me. I had a good cry afterward.
So that's stage 1, and then stage 2 is starting to get a little pickier with our choices. So it's kind of moving on out of like adolescence. Maybe became pickier as an adolescent.
Yeah.
But for me, it didn't really start until later in life. But that's kind of what we're talking about today is like being a little more picky with the choices you make with movies. Not just watching movies because you get to watch a movie. Because as a kid, it's just anytime you get to watch TV, it's great. Yeah. You don't care what it is.
The picture is moving. I'm sitting still. This is the life.
Yeah. And so now we're kind of moving on to a different phase, like where you're a little choosier, where it's okay to say no. It's okay to say no because you just don't really like something about that movie.
Yeah. So I've been thinking of it, not necessarily in terms of I don't like this, but noticing more about how the movie is made or how it's constructed or what it's trying to say. Just and I think this segment for me, as I've been thinking about it, is about my experience with movies and movies being more than simply entertainment.
Okay.
Like watching a movie and having it affect me or inspire me to think about things in a new way.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. And I think for me, it's pretty like linear. Like if we're going stage to stage, I don't know that I skipped stages. I think I kind of followed this pretty consistently.
Yeah, I think I'm in the same camp where, it wasn't just like I'm going from I really enjoy watching Spy Kids to like give me more French cinema, which I haven't consumed any French cinema. Just being straight honest with you,
not a single.
Not an I started Amelia or
Amélie.
Amélie.
Yes.
I started that on the plane. I got like 10 minutes into it, and then my plane landed. So that is that is the extent of my French cinema.
So you got 10 minutes under your belt.
Yeah, so I think that qualifies me to.
You're kind of an expert now.
Yeah.
So last time we talked about kind of the movies we watched growing up. Both of us grew up. It was funny re-listening to the episode because we keep saying the word orthodox, and it's like. If people don't know us, like we're Mormon, right? We grew up in Utah. We're Mormon. And so like Orthodox in terms of like mainstream Mormons, but not like weird, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just wondered if we gave like a weird impression of like, no, like our family were Mormons, and a lot of Mormon families have really strong beliefs about kind of media.
Yeah. Which, and maybe so some background, that stemmed from the leaders of the Mormon church basically giving guidelines that like there are certain like ratings. They kind of limit it to ratings. Like you shouldn't watch movies that are rated R.
Right.
That's kind of how they categorized it because rated R movies had language and nudity, thematic, some very dark themes type stuff. So that was kind of the thing that was taught was like you should avoid media that like influences bad, like, or that could spur bad thoughts.
Yeah.
And that was typically categorized by rated R, like the R rating type thing.
And people probably know about this, but this was a big part of my childhood. this whole cottage industry of edited movies arose to sort of help all the Mormon folks to get around it. And I think other like religious people got behind it, and people for various reasons didn't want to see certain content. But there was Clean Flicks.
Clean Flicks
was the first big one.
We also had, growing up, we had a TV Guardian, is what it was called. It was a little
Guardian,
machine.
yeah.
And you'd have to download, certain filters, put on like a thumb drive, and so you would watch the movie and say, activate this filter as I'm watching this movie.
Right. Well, I think that's how they got around it. So Clean Flicks was like, hey, we're just going to buy these movies, we're going to edit a copy and either resend or resell or rent them. And Hollywood was like, no, you can't do that. You can't just completely go around copyright law. So they got in hot water. And and then the compromise or the workaround was, we're going to do this via a device. Or there was one that you could plug like a USB stick into like certain DVD players and apply filters that way.
Yeah.
VidAngel. I think VidAngel is still around maybe in some capacity. And I don't know if it's like a web extension now. But I always thought it was super funny because like it felt so risque even looking at the categories. Like you'd pull up like, here's the summary of the movie, and you'd be like, how many F words? Full frontal.
Remove the scene where main character removes shirt, nipples exposed. You'd be like, oh.
That's salacious.
Yeah.
There were also really funny and ultra-specific categories, one of which always makes me laugh, disrespect to the flag. I can imagine someone watching it and be like, nope, nudity, we're fine. Extreme violence, fine. Don't you dare disrespect the Stars and Stripes.
I will be damned if my kids see any anti-American propaganda in American History X.
Fantastic. Anyway, so I guess the reason I brought that up is so much of me sort of exploring film was like limited firstly by rating. And I think that's like, even if you're not religious, you're like, most parents are like, you don't get to watch rated R movies when you're little. But when I first started seeing like more of the mainstream movies, a lot of them were edited. So I had kind of a different viewpoint on that, which I think was interesting. But a lot of the classics I saw for the first time with edits. That was like mostly during junior high. It's kind of an interesting
what are the
approach.
Classics that you remember seeing?
That's like Schindler's List. I think I saw Saving Private Ryan for the first time edited, or maybe that could have been one that my dad showed me in the van
because it was a war movie.
Yeah, right? And also there was that kind of time forgotten to history where we were just running wild. But yeah, so yes, so classics. I think I saw Annie Hall edited.
Okay.
I'm sure I could think of others, but it kind of felt like, a whole new world of stuff has opened out. Where I used to see trailers and be like, oh, it's rated R, I'll never see it.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I think we briefly touched. Oh, we talked about The Matrix because you saw it unedited.
Yeah. Well, I saw an edited version, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Because I think that was actually before Clean Flicks was a big thing.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to remember. I think the guy that gave it to my dad tried to edit it himself. So he like recorded it on a VHS tape. So he'd be watching it and he would record a certain bit, and then when there'd be like a swear word or something like that, he would stop the recording and like let the DVD kind of go, and then like resume like the recording on the VHS.
What a hero!
But you would still know exactly when the edits were, and sometimes he'd missed it. So like someone would be like, "Oh man, what a piece of," and then like it would just like stop, and then it would resume. He's like, "Shit." And then it just like keep going. So like you could see
finish the word.
Yeah, you could see like the effort was made, but still it's like nothing was really truly taken out.
I would have loved a business model where they're like, hey, look, we can't do this due to copyright, but we can provide a service where someone will just sit in the room with you. And when they say a swear, he'll go, la 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 la. Or like
kids, close your eyes.
A sex scene comes up and he just stands in front of the TV and it's like, nope.
The real TV guardian.
Yeah.
His name is Jeff.
He's dressed as a superhero.
And he has a high school diploma.
He's well qualified for this task. I brought up The Matrix because as a young Mormon boy, that came out in 99. Mm-hmm. So I think I was 12 or 13 years old. And I wanted to see it so badly. And I had friends that were seeing it. And I did not see it. And it was this point of like identity for me that like
Ooh.
I made this sacrifice. And then later I saw it edited, and I would like share this as like a spiritual experience. Later I saw it, and it was fine. It wasn't that good, but it wasn't worth compromising my morals over. So it's like this little feather in my cap of like my morality is defined on what I do not watch.
Yeah.
Very, very different than how I feel now. But
Oh man. I actually still haven't seen an unedited version of this, but when you're talking about broadening horizons, I saw a Cleanflix version of Team America World Police.
wow. That's an intense editing job.
Yeah, whoever did that, it was like a masterwork.
Yeah.
Because there was when I listened to the Team America theme song, they did such a good job that it was just America, yeah, and it was just and it was seamless. It was so good that they just cut out the F word. But I watched Team America and I very much enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And it was I would not have been able to experience it had it not been for the hero that probably put like 4 times as much work into editing that movie as the original editors of the movie.
Yeah.
But it was something that like, because it was like we don't watch rated R movies, but because of the editing, look, Team America World Police is now like a PG movie.
It's PG. It's a fun romp.
Yeah.
You didn't get to see the best part, which is the Muppet lovemaking scene, or the puppet
that was
lovemaking scene.
100% taken out.
That's the best part of the movie.
But I did get to see the vomit scene.
Oh, good.
Where he just vomits forever.
Now, did the editor remove disrespect to the flag?
Because
that's
is one
important.
thing. I don't remember being any disrespect to the flag, so maybe there was, and I just didn't see it.
Yeah, he knew what was up.
Okay.
He definitely knew what was going on.
Oh, man.
I remember there were certain movies that Cleanflix just wouldn't edit because they were like, thematically, even if we edit it, the tone of this or the subject matter is so dark.
Right.
I actually was doing a little research on this because there was a big controversy. And I remember having discussions about this because the founders of Cleanflix, I think, were LDS. I think it was a Utah company. And so we kind of would joke about like, yeah, but like this guy has to watch all this, right? The editor has to see all this.
Yeah,
so
right,
is it unethical for us to like ask him to do it? Anyway, there was this uproar about things like Game of Thrones or 50 Shades of Grey. Like, why would you edit this? And the CEO of Cleanflix put out this statement that was like, look, we didn't create this to be like a moral authority, so you can do whatever you want. But then the rest of the statement is like, I think it's trash, and I don't think you should watch it, and says stuff like, I mean, I don't know if there's even a story left after you edit out the nudity in Game of Thrones. And it's like, dude, shut up.
That I heard that all the time. Someone's like, oh, you're going to watch an edited version of Game of Thrones? What is it, 3 minutes? Which that just shows how little people know.
Yeah.
So, very, very fun. Because I heard that constantly.
Yeah.
Even Team America was like, there was a lot of stuff edited out, but it was still like an hour and a half long movie.
Oh, for sure. What's interesting though is I feel like I had misremembered it as one of the founders of Cleanflix, but it was a franchise owner in Orem who he and his coworker were like soliciting underage girls for sex at the store.
I did hear there was some type of
He was arrested.
scandal.
He had been like basically paying underage girls for sexual favors, and then they raided it and found like a bunch of like pornography stashed among the stuff.
Yeah.
And so in my mind, I was always like, those guys, that was the gateway drug. They saw these rated R movies and they instantly became child predators.
Yeah. Which, that was
news.
Was the kind of the reinforced belief, right?
Yeah.
It's like a slippery slope.
Slippery slope. You watch Michael Clayton one time, next thing you know, they not like us.
Yeah. Like us. Oh, man.
Go ahead.
So when you had said that you wanted to, like, I kind of want to touch on this Cleanflix thing, there was something that I thought was so funny that I think it actually made things worse in some instances. So we used like a TV Guardian. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that it would do is it would mute when there was a part with like a swear word, there was like a line of dialogue that had like a swear word or an interesting something that maybe could be construed as
something
like, you know,
suggestive.
Suggested thing. That's what I was looking for, like a suggestive piece of dialogue. It would mute the audio, and then you would just see subtitles. So you just like read. We watched. I don't know if I don't know why we did it. Maybe it was just for fun. But we got the filter for Toy Story, and anytime. Anytime Woody was mentioned, the main character of Toy Story was mentioned, it would mute the audio and it would say Notion. So it was...
I'm Notion. Howdy, howdy, howdy.
Yep. Sheriff Notion. And that made it... It was one of those things that although like I would not have thought about that ever.
Right.
But... watching it with a TV Guardian, watching Toy Story with a TV Guardian made Toy Story way more suggestive than it needed to be.
Right.
And it was so funny.
Yeah, it's an interesting. It does often call more attention to it, and at some point I remember thinking like, what are we doing? We should just not watch this movie, or just watch it full bore? Because watching it this way is just kind of like, this is weird.
Yeah, it's very weird. Did you ever? So this is a little different because they would, for some movies, they would do a made-for-TV version or made-for-an-airline version. And so the actors would say different lines.
Yeah, they do the ADR of like, mother, father, snakes on this mother, father plane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One that I remember is from Dumb and Dumber where Jim Carrey, like they're on the... Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels are on the bed and they're kind of arguing with one another. And they said like, I have an IOU like right here, and the original line is, or like, or where do I sign? He said, right on my ass after you kiss it.
Yeah.
But and I was familiar with familiar enough with the movie that when I saw it on TV, it was actually so much better because Jim Carrey says, right on my sandwich after you kiss it. And like, although that really it doesn't make sense, it was so much funnier.
It's like, what an incredible piece of improv by Jim.
So much funnier. So in a way, I mean, I think the editing of art has added somewhat to the...
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
It's a different product.
Yeah.
But it sometimes adds.
But so thank you, editors that allowed me to watch Team America and also gave me the right on my sandwich after you kiss it line from Dumb and Dumber.
Absolutely, and also thank you to your dad's coworker who was like, these kids need to watch The Matrix. The Amundsen family needs this. I'm going to sit down and edit this for them.
Yeah,
they need to know how to fight the machine.
Yeah,
they need to know that they're human batteries. So I think. We last time sort of talked about a movie that was sort of our transition from 1 to 2.
Yes.
Talked about Batman. I think that's the one that I talked about. Batman Mask of the Phantasm, which I think I was like 8. So I think my full transition probably didn't happen till later. Did you have one that was like, I can't remember from our conversation if you had one that was like a milestone.
I mean, The Mask was one.
Oh, that's right. The Mask was one that you sort of picked out. This is my movie. I was like,
this is kind of my movie.
Yeah.
When I think about starting to get a little pickier with my choices, I start to think of movies that I walked away from. I mean, like, I don't care if that was watching TV. I thought that movie kind of sucked. And this might be a hot take for some people, but The Man of Steel by Zack Snyder.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And I've come to realize now that it's almost anything by Zack Snyder.
Turns out he is the common denominator.
Yeah, I did enjoy The Watchmen, but I was very much like, I read the graphic novel, and so it was kind of fun to see. Yeah. Fun to see the graphic novel be adapted, and I actually liked some of the changes that were made. So rather than having the alien, big massive alien morph into New York City that happens in the graphic novel, the idea that they took Dr. Manhattan's energy and made a bomb to like frame him, I was like, I actually like that adjustment.
Yeah. And you could see why in adaptation it makes more sense.
Yeah.
Because what works in a comic doesn't always work on screen the same way. And even in the graphic novel, I remember kind of being confused the first time I read it about what the squid was and where it came from, and like, okay, like they wrap it up in exposition. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
and I think Watchmen's pretty good for a Zack Snyder movie.
Yeah, and is he the director or is he just a producer on that one?
I think he directed it.
Okay, because I think that's the one movie by Zack Snyder that I'm like, I think I liked that one. But I do remember going to see Man of Steel, and I've never been a huge Superman fan, but it was one of those times where, and I think a lot of people have touched on this, but I'd watch the movie and it just kind of felt empty until you got to like the moment. Like Zack Snyder's like really good at like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if Superman like flies up and he's looking down and he sees like the earth and it's like this almost like this composition, like this art piece. Yeah. So like this one frame, he's working to get this like one frame in like the movie or like the slow-mo type thing to really live in it. And I feel like that just, even like in the beginning stages of like being a little bit more picky, I thought like that kind of compromised a lot of things because you're trying to just be like, hey guys, now watch this, ready, there it is. And resume.
He is kind of the epitome of wait for it, and it's like this. Your whole movie is you just framing set pieces. Yeah. I'm not a huge Zack Snyder fan. I felt the same way. What year was Man of Steel? Did that come out when we were in like high school? I want to say it's maybe later.
Yeah, I think it was later. So yeah, this kind of maybe ages me, or shows how new this like movie guy journey for me is. But let's see, Man of Steel, 2013.
2013. Okay.
So yeah, 2013.
So you're in college or college age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I maybe just graduated from college.
Nice.
And I went to the theater to see it. It was like, oh, this would be, Spider-Man was fun.
Sure.
Superhero movies were starting to be a thing. I enjoyed Iron Man and stuff like that. So I went like, oh, maybe Superman will be redeemed in my eyes because I always thought he was kind of a lame character.
Yeah.
When someone can do everything, it's just not as compelling.
I get that. I've come around a little bit on Superman, but I used to feel that way where it's like when you're playing on the playground and you're like, I have a missile, and then you have a friend that's like, well, I have a force field. It felt like Superman was just the one-uppery, the one-upper superhero, like, oh, yeah, you can fly?
Yeah.
I can too, and heat vision, and cold breath, and like...
He's Deus Ex Machina, the character.
Yeah.
Like, whatever it is, he has a power to thwart
it. I will say this, though. Reading Watchmen made me appreciate Superman because Dr. Manhattan is how you'd expect a real person to behave with superpowers. And so I think it made me appreciate, like, how would you behave if you were invincible and nothing mattered? And Dr. Manhattan completely detaches from humanity, whereas Superman, like, leans into his humanity, which is like, that's a cool idea.
Sure.
He's making a choice to be human and be humble and care about people, even though he has no incentive to, which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah. Again, this is not to, because I know there are people that are huge Superman fans.
Yeah.
This is not to, I'm not saying that if you enjoy Superman, like you're shallow or anything like that. None of that. I just think that.
Perish the thought.
I think Superman was very much created during the time in which, like, this was kind of like a new idea. Like, to have like the ability to fly, to like to thwart the nuclear menace, and just a product of his time to kind of be like the thing that can always conquer evil, no matter what that looks like. And it's a brand new idea, but things have been refined since then.
Yeah.
I know way more people. My assumption is if I were to do a random survey and be like, do you like Superman or Batman better? Most people would say Batman. It's like, why? It's like, because he doesn't actually have any superpowers.
Yeah.
That's what I always.
He's more relatable.
Hear.
It feels like there's more flexibility with what you can do with him.
Right.
This is a conversation I think we'll have in a later episode, but it's very much like we've talked about, like Kurosawa or Citizen Kane, where you go back and watch it and you're kind of like, take it on its own terms. I'm not sure I'm into it. You can see why it's important and why it was momentous for the time, but it's like, the formula gets refined and tastes change.
Right.
Anyway, so you hated Man of Steel.
Yeah, it was just one of those things that I walked away and I was like, I don't know if I ever like want to watch that again. The story wasn't compelling. I wasn't drawn to any characters. like particularly.
Yeah.
It just kind of was like, we're going to show you a movie. We're going to show you these really cool pictures.
Yeah.
And then I started to see like that's kind of a pattern with Zack Snyder, that it's just like let's go big, bold, expensive, and people will come watch it and they're gonna like it.
Yeah. It's spectacle.
Yeah.
Have you seen 300?
I did see 300, which I mean that was very artistic, right? Like the style was like the first of its kind, like very innovative, like kind of this really almost like the Batman thing where it was filmed or it was like animated on dark paper. Mm-hmm. That's how 300 felt to me. It was like everything is just really grainy, like really kind of like the saturation's all blown out, and it was intentional.
Mm-hmm. And that's also based on a Frank Miller comic.
Oh, really?
300.
I did not know that.
So it's interesting that maybe his sweet spot is adaptation, although Superman maybe refutes that.
Well,
and Batman v Superman and even Justice League, I think, is pretty pissed.
So there's actually no sweet spot. It's just
okay. Let's step it back. His sweet spot is music videos. That's how
Zack Snyder.
Yeah, I feel like he makes 2-hour-long music videos. Everything looks expensive and cool.
Yep.
And there's just nothing I can connect with.
Okay.
He's a great music video director.
That actually makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Because how many times you watch a music video and you're like, what the hell was that?
Yeah.
Like it was interesting to watch alongside the music, but
right. And it's
what's
like
happening?
There's no reason to make an emotional connection to a character in a music video. You just want cool images that play. And I feel like that's kind of his ethos to filmmaking is like, yeah, that looked cool, but that does nothing for me, man.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
That makes so much sense.
That's a Zack Snyder dig I've been using for years.
Is there... Okay, so I talked about like, that was the first time I felt like really picky, where I just like, I don't care if this is big cinema and people like critics say it's great. I was like, I don't care for it. And I don't agree with what people say.
Yeah.
Is there a movie that you like, because you're being picky, a movie that you latched onto that maybe isn't really accepted by like the masses as being like a good movie?
So a movie where like I planted my flag of like I like this.
Yeah. And you have reasons for it.
Yeah. Okay, before I dive into that, I do have a movie that I didn't like or a moment that I didn't like, and this comes back in phase 1. Oh. This is also a story that my parents tell me because I don't remember it that well. Okay. But we went to see Beauty and the Beast.
The
original, yeah.
Okay,
it's a fabulous movie.
Yeah, awesome.
But apparently at the end, when they showed the Beast, and he's just fugly looking.
Oh, dude, I know.
I was furious to the point where I like made a stink in the auditorium where I was like, he's ugly. I was just like, movie's ruined.
Yeah.
Like he's so weird looking. It's like those pictures where they'll take somebody's portrait with a bunch of different lenses and focal lengths, and sometimes like their face looks super weird and compressed.
Yes.
He looks like they switched lenses on him, and he's just nose, and it's like he's better as the Beast.
Yeah, 100%.
Go back to the Beast. This guy sucks.
There is actually a 30-minute long documentary on YouTube about why that frame looks as ugly as it does.
Is it? Is
like
there?
The reveal.
Oh my gosh. I need to know. I need to watch it.
Yeah, I wish I remember the details. But there was, if you look at the original like animated sketch, he looks way more proportionate. There's like good shading and stuff. Because one of the things like when you see him, he's like kind of like lit from the bottom, so he has like these weird shadows on his face, and his lips just like disappear.
Yeah,
he just looks flat and gross.
He looks like the man in the Iron Mask. Like he's been like kept from sunlight, and he's just like he's come out of a oubliette or something. He's horrible.
It is. I know exact. Yes, I resonate with that so hard.
Anyway, so that was my moment of just like, I don't care if this movie's good. You lost me. I was like, I don't know, 8. And I was just like, this will not stand.
Scrap this film.
Scrap it. Wrap it up.
Oh man.
Okay, so I'm trying to think of movies that like were not like critically successful, or movies that I was like, no, this is good. I have another example of a movie that I hated despite being well within the target demo. And this is not a critically acclaimed movie. It, in fact, is critically panned. And that's Wing Commander.
Is that a Denzel Washington
It's
one?
Freddie Prinze Jr.
Wing Commander.
It's based on a video game, a series of like CD-ROM space flight simulator games.
Oh, I've never heard of this.
Anyway, I was like 10, 11. So like it's a movie I probably could have liked.
Right.
I was at a sleepover at my friend Scotty Boucher's house, and we rented Wing Commander, and they were into it, and I was like, this sucks. I had this moment of like, well, did I just become self-aware? Did I just become a sentient human? Because I should be liking this, but I could tell it's like, this is just not well made.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Oh, man.
I don't know how Freddie Prinze got attached to it, but it was rough.
This did not even hit my memory until you had said Wing Commander was like a video game adaptation, because I think those are actually like even earlier than Man of Steel, like the Super Mario Brothers movie, the original one.
Bonkers.
I hated that.
Bonkers.
I hated that so much. And then there was another.
Isn't Dennis Hopper Koopa?
I have no idea.
I think it's Dennis Hopper.
But I do feel it was
got
one
that
of
weird, fleshy, veiny head.
Yeah. But that was one of those things where I feel like there's like, we're going to make it Super Mario Brothers so people will watch it.
Yeah.
And they just like spit in the face of you. Like, it's like, oh, remember Bowser? Or remember the Goombas or whatever? They're like shrunken head. It's like,
they're just giant dudes with little tiny puppet heads.
Yeah.
They kind of look like
Bowser's
lizards.
like a lizard. Yeah, it was so bizarre.
It was
just
very odd.
so far from the source material. And then the
Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo.
Yeah. Gosh, there was another one. Oh, Street Fighter. I loved Street Fighter 2 growing up.
Yeah.
I'd go to my friend's house, and I can't remember his last name now. We had a babysitter named Tony Monga who would bring his.
That's a good name.
Yeah, he would bring his Super Nintendo over, and that's what we would do. Like when he babysat, we would just like play Super Street Fighter 2, and it was amazing. And then I watched the movie. Like I get to see Blanca, I get to see Hadoukens, I get to see all these things, and it just like was the most boring,
horrible,
cheesy, just absolutely terribly made movie that I'd ever experienced. And I was like, TV lied to me. Like, I thought this was going to be cool. You have a formula.
Right.
You have, like, source material that people like. They just want to see people fighting.
Just do it.
Yeah. Have Blanca do electricity, and kids are going to love it.
Maybe this is Zack Snyder's. Just have Zack Snyder make a Street Fighter movie. No plot, just cool fights. He might be able to pull it off.
That might be the one Zack Snyder thing that I just shout praises on, because it's a super stylized, like, what do you call like the Evos? Like, isn't that like a gaming, fighting game thing? Just give me a fighting game recap thing where two people are really awesome, but just make it live action. You get to watch a really short fight, a whole series of them, or maybe even do the story where they go to Japan, China, and that's all it needs to be. It's a travel map. They're like a map traveling thing.
There's like a little interlude in the middle where for no reason they've just both beat the hell out of a car.
Yeah, beat a car or a brick wall. And then at the very end, once like someone has defeated M. Bison, then you say, here's the backstory.
Yeah.
Just really quickly show what happens.
It's like the opposite of the title scroll at the beginning of Star Wars. It's just the whole plot just scrolls before the end credits. In case you're wondering why all these guys were fighting.
Because that's what they did. Like Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat. Do that. The formula worked. It sold millions of things. Do that let Zack Snyder take the really pretty approach.
Can you imagine how Zack Snyder would handle Dalsim's stretching limbs in slow motion?
I mean,
incredible.
I would watch it. I think that'd be really cool.
Call us, Zach. That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
I can't think of a movie that was like, I like this. Critics hate it. Oh no, I can. But this has nothing to do with me being a film guy. This has to do with me being a little edgelord kid. I loved the Spawn movie.
Oh, okay.
Also John Leguizamo.
Okay.
And I thought this is so cool. It's dark. It's gritty. Have you seen it?
I've only seen pieces of it.
It's really bad. But but it's just so like gritty, and it's based on a Todd McFarlane comic about this guy who's like a kind of a super soldier or special ops guy who gets betrayed and sent to hell, and then in exchange for a return to Earth so he can see his beloved wife Wanda, he becomes like a soldier of evil. He becomes this hell spawn, and it's rough. John Leguizamo plays a demon clown who can turn into this giant beast called the Violator. But I remember thinking, this is so cool. And the main actor, his name's Michael Jai White. He was like a martial artist.
Okay.
I thought he was the coolest man I've ever seen in my life, to the extent that I switched which hand I wear my watch on because Michael Jai White wore his watch on his left hand. To this day.
Wow.
MJW.
Really?
I saw him on a talk show and I was like, what would Michael Jai White do?
Oh, man.
This is the question I've been asking myself ever since. So, yeah, I mean, I have no film reason to like it. It just hit me at the perfect time. The movie starts, like, the credits are like, it says Spawn, and all the text is like falling into this hellish flaming vortex. And I was just like, yes!
Man, okay, so Spawn. So it would be something to watch because it's bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
And pretty fun bad.
Okay.
The special effects at the time were okay. Spawn's sort of signature thing is he has this huge cloak. He has this kind of black, kind of cool bodysuit, but anyway, he has this big red cloak that is kind of alive, and it's like
kind of Doctor Strangey type.
Yeah,
thing?
but bigger and kind of ragged, and it can kind of shape shift, and he can fly with it. At one point in the movie, the demon clown, John Leguizamo, is going to run him over, and so he like scoops his cloak into this little metal spike and impales the Violator's semi-truck on it.
Oh, okay.
And then walks away with the explosion in the background because cool guys don't look. And Michael Jai White, a.k.a. Spawn, coolest guy. But
where's his watch on the other hand?
It'd be cool if Spawn wore a watch. He doesn't. Or maybe it's under his suit. I don't know. Anyway, Spawn's a classic. But yeah, Spawn. it would be a fun watch along, like have some popcorn and just have a time. It's a good time.
Okay, so that was one that you're like a hill that you would die on, maybe even still, right? Like
maybe, yeah. I mean, I will say though, I have a soft spot in my heart for bad movies, and people like I watch a lot of movies. I talk about movies a lot, and so people are like, "Are you like a snob?" And I'm like, I'm picky, but also the list of bad films that I like is probably bigger than the list of good films that I like.
Interesting.
I like a really bad movie. If you look at my letterbox, there's a lot of 1 star with a heart. Like, this is garbage. I love it to death.
Yes. I think we should totally do an episode on this because I went through a phase, thanks to Mystery Science Theater 3000, where I was like, give me...
Manos, the Hands of Fate.
Yeah, give me every movie starring Joe Estevez, because he was like the B movie A-lister.
Right.
Anything that Joe Estevez is in, let me watch, and I will hate watch it, and we will laugh and talk about it forever.
Oh, phenomenal. Oh, see, this is something we did get into. I think when I was in high school, we discovered Troll 2.
Oh, yeah.
Same thing, where it was just like, this is great. And then later, The Room came into my orbit. Yeah. Those really, really bad auteur movies are so great.
Okay, we totally need to do an episode on bad movies. Mm-hmm. Just genuinely bad movies.
I mean, I could do a whole episode on Troll 2.
Okay. It
could be a series, depending on how long we go before we run out of steam on this thing. We got a lot of material. Okay. I would love that.
This is great that we're.
Do you have another movie you wanted to bring up? Because I have a different direction we can go in.
Well, the one that I think that I kind of became picky, and I was like, I'm going to die on this hill. That I did feel that everything just kind of worked together, even though if you look at like Rotten Tomatoes or Letterboxd, it's not super highly received. It was Patch Adams. With Robin Williams.
You've talked about that one before.
I loved that movie. I feel like the score just worked with everything. Robin Williams' performance obviously was amazing. The theme of the movie, like look outside of yourself type thing, that like really resonated with me. And to this day, I think it's on my Letterboxd, like my top 4. Mm-hmm. That is a movie that I love and I will defend until I die because I think it's great. It's a wonderful movie.
I think there's a thing that happens with film criticism and this maybe we'll touch on again when we get to the later stages, where it feels unfashionable sometimes for a movie to just be sincere. And so I think if you were to go on and read negative reviews of Patch Adams, people would be like, it's cloying, it's trite, it's hallmarky, just because it's sincere. And this is something that, this is sort of kind of my stage 5, is like realizing like, no, like a movie can be sincere and heartfelt and overly sentimental and still be good.
Yeah.
Anyway, and that's something that I think when you start getting into film, at least me, you kind of look down on like, oh, it's a little trite. That's been done before. It's a little I don't know. That's if it's not edgy, if it's not edgy, it's cliche or it's not worthy of enjoyment.
That's interesting because I've never thought of it that way, because I feel like whenever I've talked to someone about Patch Adams, they go, oh, I don't really like that movie. And the general consensus, at least that I've experienced, is that it had like a tonal shift, right? Like
when his love interest gets killed,
she's
horrible.
Murdered. It's very dark, and so you have this like, it's this very positive, like, let's do things for other people. Let's like bless the lives of people. Like, we're seeing positive change in things.
Yeah.
And then it brings you back to reality, saying like, there's no perfect world in which like everything you do, like even if it's altruistic, will result in positivity. Yeah. And I think that really shook a lot of people, at least like from my experience. So I said, oh no, it was so sad. It was tragic.
But that's not how the movie ends, right?
No,
because then it's about it's an opportunity for him to test that viewpoint of like, even though this horrible thing happened, have all these things that I've been preaching been for naught, or can I still carry on?
Yeah, and if you look at the hero's journey, that's where you get to a point where the character learns something and then has to pay a price and either move forward with their new learning or like go back to the way it was, like return to like the way things were, which in the start of the movie was him feeling sorry and helpless and wanting to kill himself. And then he comes to a cliff, like where he's, wrestling with all this.
So
and then
that's
he makes
the inflection point of like, I can revert to how I was before I started this journey, or I can find the next step.
And humanity sucks. It's not worth it. Or take all of the things that he's learned throughout the course of the whole film and then go forward through tragedy and take that tragedy to say like, I still think this is like the way that we should be like treating people. Yeah. Type thing.
Did you feel at the time, I guess I should sort of back up. One of the things that I've been thinking about as part of this phase 2 is what makes a movie useful or good? And I think part of this transition from just taking stuff at face value is a movie good if it's not satisfying? Or is a movie good if it's sad? Is a movie good if it challenges me in a way that I haven't been challenged before? Because going back to the Beauty and the Beast, it's like, this is unsatisfying. This stupid face has ruined the movie for me. The movie that I think of a lot that sort of made me think about movies differently was Big Fish. Big Fish came out in 2003. Have you seen Big Fish?
I haven't. It's this. I know of it.
Yeah, it's Tim Burton. It's Ewan McGregor is the main character. What I loved about it is it was the first time I had seen any sort of like magical realism in a movie, and I'd thought about movie in like metaphorical terms, because it's a very like metaphorical movie. Basically, if you look at the story from the realist perspective, it's about this guy who had kind of a distant father who may have been a philanderer, who was often gone, and it was this big storyteller. And the son resents his dad, and his dad's dying. So he comes home and tries to reconcile. And this story of reconciliation between his dad or the son and his dad is set against the fictional story of the dad's life that the dad has been telling for years and years. And it's fantastical. It's this sort of like American Gothic sort of fable. Anyway, I loved it because it left a lot of things open for interpretation.
Yeah.
And introduced this idea of a lack of resolution can be a resolution or can be a destination for a
Sure.
film. It says certain things about the relationship, but it doesn't tie everything up in a neat bow.
Yeah.
There's moments of reconciliation and of warmth, but at the end, it's like there's a lot to chew on with the movie.
Yeah.
And I think did really, really well domestically. I think it's not like a hard movie to watch. I don't want to oversell it as like this ultra experimental cerebral thing, but it was a movie that made me, I guess, comfortable with ambiguity.
Yeah.
Which I think is a hallmark of maybe less mainstream movies, where it's like, we're not going to tell you exactly what happened. We're going to leave certain things up for interpretation.
Yes.
We're gonna present things in a way that allow you to make different judgments than maybe necessarily the filmmakers did. So anyway,
I do think, I would agree. I feel like once I got to the point where I could be comfortable with like not having a happy ending or to not have all my questions answered that allowed for conversation afterwards, that's when I feel like that I moved on to like phase 3 of becoming a movie guy, to where I look and see like all of the cliches that are done, and I start getting a little bit more snooty about things.
Yeah, where a movie starts and you're kind of like, I know what this is going to be.
Or like exposition. Okay.
Oh, great! That's real graceful of you. Nice screenplay.
Yeah, totally.
This is something that maybe I'm in stage 4 of retaining some douchiness. There are certain movies, even though I just went on this whole thing about earnest movies and how they're great, some movies I refer to as emotional pornography. And I resent when I know what a movie is trying to make me feel.
Okay.
For this reason, during this time, I had kind of a bone to pick with Remember the Titans.
Okay.
Or movies in that vein. We Are Marshall. Because it's so naturally a tear-jerking situation,
right.
I'd be like,
this will not
I
get
hate
me.
your guts.
Yeah.
I know what you're trying to make me feel, and I resent you for doing it. I feel differently. Well, some I still hate. I think Remember the Titans is great.
Yeah.
We Are Marshall, I think, is a cash grab. I think it's horrible.
Interesting. Okay.
It's emotional pornography. It's the same. It's like I'm watching this to get X response. I know what the response is. I know what the outcome is. So it's not art. It's not art to me. It's just
yeah.
I feel that way about Pursuit of Happiness. That's probably a hot take. I think a lot of people like that one. That one I was just like, this is just, I don't know. You know it's going to have a happy ending. So why are we putting you through all this? 7 pounds also.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Yeah, it's true. To kind of be, it's the equivalent of a comedian coming up on stage before a stand-up set and goes, "Are you guys ready to laugh? Because I have some jokes that you will find humorous."
Exactly. And I think it's sort of hypocritical of me to say this because there are movies that do that I love. For example, surprising many people in my life, I love Fast and the Furious movies.
Interesting. Okay.
Because I think they are like probably emotional pornography, right? Like they've gone downhill again. They started trying to be serious, then they sort of, I think, peaked with like 4 and 5 where they're like, this is so stupid and we're going to lean into it. And I love that aspect of like, I know this is going to be dumb. I know the one-liners are just going to be raining from the heavens.
Right.
I know exactly what I want out of it, and that's what I'm going to get.
Yeah.
So I really don't have a leg to stand on here.
Okay.
Other than maybe I just don't like Will Smith being emotional. This is funny that we've started as like we have these very thoughtful reasons why we don't like this movie. Turns out we just hate Zack Snyder.
And Will Smith. That's it.
Speaking of Will Smith, I have been thinking nonstop about somebody in our office bringing up iRobot as a movie that they like.
That they love. And they said it as if everyone, like, oh, obviously iRobot is great.
iRobot, and then Kasia, shout out Kasia, saying, "Are you joking?" Just meeting that suggestion with such sheer disdain. It was very funny.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, man.
So good.
So, what am I saying? After college, you see Man of Steel. When did you feel like you started like getting into movies or even being aware of like, oh, there's like a backlog of movies that I need to see. Because I think that's like was big for me when I went to college. Like, oh, there's a bunch of like these classics that people talk about or I'd read about online, and then I started going through the back catalog.
I think one of the movies that it kind of was fighting against like any type of like religious cognitive dissonance that I had was I watched The Green Mile, which is another one that is rated R, and I remember watching it and I felt like almost like a spiritual presence, because it just resonated with me. Like I saw a lot of parallels to like the Christian narrative of Jesus, where he's like this innocent person that like needs to be killed to satisfy like the needs of society type stuff. Yeah. And I saw that, and it was such an experience for me that was so heart-wrenching. It was dark, it was uncomfortable, but it was one that like really made me feel that made me feel a whole lot. And I just kind of had this like awakening, like what other films have I just simply disregarded because some other people said this movie is rated R. So I'm letting other people decide by like slapping a rating on something. Yeah. Like the stories and films that like I could watch and learn stuff from. Yeah. And so that was kind of like a gateway into.
Yeah. Well, that's a good point too. And going back to what we talked about kind of at the beginning of the episode, growing up in this religious context, the idea is like you avoid these bad things because of they encourage like thoughts that can get you into trouble, right. Or they encourage like they lead you spiritually down a dark path. One of the other things that you learn in the church growing up is like seek out things that are virtuous or good or lovely. Right. And I remember similarly seeing a rated R movie and being like, oh, that was like uplifting or edifying or spiritually affected me. In a way that might not have happened had it not contained the darkness or the, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you got to have that contrast.
Like for The Green Mile to hit as hard as it does, you have to have the scene where Percy doesn't wet the sponge. Like you have to like see the brutality.
Yes.
You have to like get all the gory details of Sam Rockwell's character and how despicable what he does is.
Yeah.
So like they're even if these things are like offensive, they're part of the art and they're what make the art work. Yeah. So to like you can't have one without the other. You
gotta have, if you want to see, if someone puts down a blue circle and they put it on top of a blue canvas, you're not going to see it. You need to have a blue circle on a red canvas so it very much stands out. Yeah. And sometimes that red is the discomfort you feel from not having a resolution, or from dark themes, or from things that you don't necessarily see in the mainstream because it's too hard to deal with. Yeah. So I think that's one of the reasons I love films, is they can put me in a place where I feel uncomfortable, and let me kind of dwell on that and think about like I don't have to personally put myself into that situation, but because I'm able to watch someone be in that comfortable situation, I'm almost like empathizing with that. Yeah. And it gets me to think like, okay, I'm feeling this without having to actually experience it. You're empathizing with the character, and you're also often forced to think about, well, why am I uncomfortable? Like, what is it? It's like an impetus for self-reflection of like, what about my life makes this uncomfortable? How do I feel about these themes or these things that I'm seeing? How do I like reconfigure my own philosophy or my own view on life based on what I'm ingesting? Yeah. It's super interesting. And honestly, talking about movies is the draw, right? Yeah. Like being able to have these conversations is, I think, what makes it just so much fun as an art form. For sure. Speaking of pure art, we need to move into the section of our podcast episode where we take one of the movies that we've discussed and we we see if it could make a good Muppet, if it could be remade as a Muppet movie, and if so, how would we cast and foresee that movie being fleshed out?
Yeah, we may come back on this, but potentially we're calling this segment Fatler and Taldorf.
Which I feel like you don't really get you don't really understand that joke if we're sitting at a table, because I'm 6'7".
True.
It doesn't look that way.
True, and
I'm sitting down.
chunky. Maybe it reads on camera. I don't know.
I don't think so, but I support the pun. So,
of the movies we've discussed today, oh man, that's hard. I actually have one we did not discuss today.
Oh,
that occurred to me. One of the movies we talked about kind of going into the back catalog. One of the movies that I saw long after it came out, I think I was in college, was The Shining.
Oh.
And I think it's just ripe for the plucking.
I do feel that The Shining, I haven't added it to my list, but I think I need to. But I do think The Shining would be a great candidate for a Muppet remake.
Yeah.
100%.
Again, doing something that's well known that you can riff off of is great. There's a lot of famous lines in there that you can subvert with Muppet shenanigans. I don't know about cast. You could do the whole family are humans. It's also funny if just Jack Torrance is married to a Muppet and has a Muppet child.
That's what I feel like this is one of the things that like really helps us like to springboard with this idea is like we say, who's the human? Because there's always a human. And they're usually very phenomenal. Their performances are like amazing. Yeah. And so I do feel like maybe Jack Nicholson would be
a prime Jack Nicholson just reprising his role would be really, really good.
Yeah. I think it has to be Jack Nicholson as Jack Torrance as the human.
But are we speculating on if this were made today or just if it were made ever?
I think if let's say like in its heyday, we were able to go back, so you get young Jack Nicholson.
So we're doing ideal cast,
right?
Not just available cast.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
because I think Jack Nicholson's son is an actor.
Okay.
And he kind of looks like Jack Nicholson. He kind of has that same creepy smile. He was in Smile 2, I think.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, so that's a possibility.
I mean, because this is hypothetical, we can do whatever we want. So if we're saying like, okay, we want to stick with Jack Nicholson, I think we're well within like our made up rules.
Okay.
To do that.
So Jack is Jack Torrance.
Okay.
He's born to play the role.
And I love what you're saying. Like he's married to a Muppet.
Yeah.
I think that just creates that really fun contrast of like where it's a very tonally, it's very like serious and eerie and stuff, and then to have him bend down 4.5 feet to kiss like a Muppet on the mouth, I think would just be incredible. That blue dot on the red canvas.
What a great visual. No, that's true. What is the name of the little frog that plays Tiny Tim? I think he's like Kermit's nephew canonically, right?
Yeah, what is his name?
I feel like it's like Robin or something.
It is Robin. Yep, it's Robin.
Robin could be Danny Torrance.
Okay.
Because he's just adorable.
Yeah.
And, imagine his little Muppet feet pedaling the tricycle through the halls of the Overlook Hotel.
Yep.
It's hard not to say Miss Piggy.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. What are the other like female characters like in the Muppets? You have like Miss Piggy, obviously. Is, I think like, the strong
is it Janice that's in the band? She's got the big lips and the closed eyes.
Yeah,
she would be very funny visually to be Wendy Torrance. Yeah, I feel like I know her as well as I should.
And maybe this is her breakout role, like maybe because she's kind of flown under the radar as more of an extra. Yeah.
Okay. Did she say okay or something like that?
I don't remember.
See, we don't know Janice. We'd have to see her reel.
Yeah, I think what we're saying here is we need more female Muppet representation, and we're going to make The Shining the opportunity to do that.
Totally.
So we'll include Janice.
Yeah, so here's what I like about the setup. So the core cast of The Shining is very small.
Right.
After the first scene, it's essentially the Torrance family that are alive. And then Jack Torrance's boss, the manager of the hotel.
The caretaker.
What's his name? Doc. No, he calls Danny. Anyway.
Yeah.
He's played by Scatman Jones in the movie. He's the cook who receives the shining and comes to save them at the end.
From Danny.
Yeah. So anyway, they're all ghosts, and as the movie progresses, you just get these increasingly weird and disturbing vignettes, and that's just, you can bring in the whole Muppet cast there. Are there twin Muppets? Who would play the girls standing in the hallway? Come and play with us,
Well, I
Danny.
think whenever there's like a ghost, it would be like you need to kind of follow like the tradition where it's
always Statler and Waldorf
to show up as the twins. Sweetums, I think, could be a very fun old lady.
Yes.
As like he turns around, it's just like a
when he goes into the room and the rotten corpse comes out of the bathtub, but it's just Sweetums.
It's just Sweetums. Oh, hey, you guys.
There's all the like decadent party scenes could just be full of Muppets. You could bring back the businessman pigs.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the businessman pigs.
I love the businessman pigs. There was a guy in my ward growing up named Cal Van Dyke who looks exactly like the pig with a cleft chin. Every time he's on screen in Christmas Carol, I'm like, there he is, Cal Van Dyke. Sideburns and a chin cleft.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I feel like I don't have specific cast in mind yet, but I feel like it's a great setup. Last time we talked about sort of subverting expectations. Right. What if we make Kermit the former caretaker who's sort of corrupting Jack Torrance?
Okay.
Like he's at the bar and he's just like, hey Jack.
It's not that easy being green, but it's also not easy being alone. Totally. I love that.
I think Kermit as a tempter is a very fun idea to play with.
Yeah, it's like him taking a risk in his career, finally.
Yeah, he's finally branching out. God bless him.
We'll have to flesh out more details if we want to see like an actual Shining Muppet remake. But Ben, thanks so much for joining me again today.
You're so welcome.
Next episode we'll be going over stage 3, which is to go full-on movie elitist and swear by the indie scene and that Hollywood is destroying cinema.
Truth. I've never gotten out of this phase.
Yeah. I think that's where I'm probably living as well.
Stay sweaty? Is that what we say now?
Sure.
Stay moist.
Get moist. Nope. And cut.